Let's move to what this says about LeBron James. And I'm mostly blasting Kyrie Irving's immaturity. But I think Doug's already hinted at a point that LeBron's upset, and that filters down to the rest of the team. LeBron James, again, great player, but everywhere he goes, there's drama. Everywhere. There is dysfunction wherever he goes. Tremendous player. I'm not knocking him as a player, but he's not remotely perfect. And the fact that someone this talented, who's helped him win in his hometown, knocked down the biggest shot in the series they won, that he somehow has allowed this young kid to get so out of pocket that he doesn't want to play with him, this is also a bit of an indictment on LeBron.
I think it's more than a bit. It is an indictment on LeBron James because it's up to you to maintain all the balance in your own ship, right? And instead, he's created more chaos because he's openly questioned management, because he's tweeted about David Griffin not being retained. Like, you can't, as much as you want to, you can't do that when you're LeBron James. And something I pointed out on this show with you guys is, like, LeBron's never been held accountable for some of the things that he and Rich Paul have pushed in terms of the contract. Tristan Thompson, J.R. Smith, in terms of those contracts. LeBron James last year, even when they don't win the NBA championship, well, he averaged a triple-double, so it obviously wasn't LeBron. It's never LeBron's fault. And at some point, you're like, dude, you know what? It is kind of LeBron's fault. I already have a ring. I'd like to be happier. The ship's sinking. Get out a little bit earlier. But I think LeBron's lack of leadership in many different ways, more so than what we see just on the floor and rah-rah in front of the camera, I think this is an indictment of it.
Doug, he was in the clear, right? LeBron said, I'm coming back to Cleveland. I'm going to bring him a title. He did it in an amazing fashion. They were down 3-1. He rallied them, the greatest finals rally ever. He mission accomplished. And now he's in the clear. He could leave for L.A. Nobody would burn his jersey. Nobody's going to rip him. And now it's like, well, dude, you wouldn't commit. You tried to ship Kevin Love out of town. Now you tried to trade Kyrie. Now Kyrie doesn't want... This is on you, LeBron. It's all of a sudden it's snowballing on LeBron James.
There was talk of trading Kyrie before this, right? Yeah. That was actually part of the discussion.
There was part of that talk, but I have to say in some ways you do have to look at this. LeBron was given credit for everything being built up. He was given all the credit for putting that team together and getting things done. But you have to be able to learn how to keep the superstars happy. He knows he has to have this other guy, and we've seen this play out. And you mentioned Kobe and Shaq. You have to find a way to be able to keep that together. I understand, and you don't necessarily have guys that are going to like one another, but you have to learn how to function as well. And Doug, before we started this, we were talking about the fact that this information is getting out. I'm with you on the fact that from a leadership standpoint, everything that happens with the teams that LeBron James is on, it's out there. And
always leaks.
It's always leaks. Somehow the information always gets out, and that's a little messy, and that's something for him as the leader. He has to find a way to get that fixed.
Look, he started this free agency period. There were stories or leaks. LeBron's hands off. He's not actively recruiting people. Again, he hasn't been managing what he built.
Correct.
He disengaged, and now Kyrie Irving, who, again, LeBron should have recognized, hey, this dude's a little immature. I better keep my thumb on him or stay in constant communication, make him feel like he's a part of whatever we're doing.
Manage him.
Share the leadership with Kyrie. He's knocked down big shots. I can't win without him. He hasn't done it. The thing is falling apart. Oof. This is a...
So what does LeBron do with this news that's out there? He's got to react. He can't do nothing. He can't just sidestep it.
Cleveland's up in flames. He's looking for a
he's
helicopter.
Got a fire extinguisher.
Yeah, he's looking for a helicopter out of Saigon too.
The question becomes: does this current group even make it to next season?
No.
Right?
I don't know if they make it to August.
You're being serious, and I'm there with you. Like, if you're Dan Gilbert and you're like, this guy wants out, I don't know the move that you could make. I mean, could you get Carmelo for him? Yeah, but you're not a championship team.
Does Carmelo want to go there, or does he want to go to Houston, though? Right now, Cleveland, like you said, is in flames. Well, couldn't land Chauncey Billups. Couldn't get Paul George. No, who's running the show there?
One other layer I want to get to before we get out of here. Kyrie Irving wants out. According to Adrian Wojnarowski, he just tweeted out here recently that in his conversations, he said he wants to go to San Antonio. Kyrie Irving wants to go to San Antonio. A ball-dominant guard wants to go play for Greg Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs. But maybe he'll adjust. Maybe he's not as immature as I'm saying.
I'm kind of with you, Jason. I mean, like, look, if anytime you say, I want to be coached by somebody who demands that you set aside your ego, right? And that the big thing with San Antonio is that you have to, we want guys who forget about who they are or what they are, and they just give themselves to the team. I think that's actually a really mature statement. I don't know how it fits, but also remember, like, Tony Parker's not a creative passer. He's more of a scorer.
And coming off the big injury as well.
Right. I mean, the question becomes, can he force it to happen? It's fascinating to me that we all assumed, all right, it was Cleveland, Golden State, and even with all this other movement, it would still be Cleveland and Golden State next year. Now, all of a sudden, all that potentially changes here with this news.
Cleveland's out of it right now, anyway, no matter what. Even if you don't move any pieces, if Kyrie stays,
they're shot mentally.
They're shot mentally, absolutely.
Listen, why are we dismissing? He wants to go to San Antonio. You think he didn't do any homework on San Antonio and the possibility? That would be awesome for the NBA.
You think the Cavs are just going to give him up?
I don't know, give him up, but you got to do something.
Oh, wow.
But listen, I thought you had something interesting about maybe the Clippers being a good fit for him.
I don't see why the Clippers, they just gave up Chris Paul, okay? Kyrie wants a big market, wants to be the man. We know Blake Griffin, he's a little advanced in his age. He's got some injuries. Kyrie could go there and be the man. Showtime-type atmosphere with Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan. I think you're shaking your head, Doug. You're not feeling the Clippers?
It's the Clippers.
And then LeBron goes to the Lakers, and they got the head-to-head.
No, I mean,
like,
look, if the San Antonio thing is real, it signals that he still wants to win, he wants to be the man, but he wants to allow himself to be coached. The other one to me, I still think at some point somebody's going to try and do the Knicks thing. It's always happened in the front office. It's happened went to high school in Jersey. I know he was born in Australia. Like, the Knicks to me are interesting. Clippers are potentially, but the Clippers are a lot more like the Nets. Right? The Lakers are going to have a ton of cap space. He hasn't always been a point guard. He's been a two-guard. I don't know. We could get lost in the speculation of where he could go. Just the idea, as you said, Jason, they're mentally shot. All that other movement aside, it was still Cavs and Warriors until this moment.
Kevin Love since, the last 2 months? He's been silent. Team's messed up.
I'm sitting here thinking about him in San Antonio, though. He wants to be the focal point of the team that has Kawhi Leonard. Yeah. And again, so maybe that's a little bit overblown.
Focal point is he doesn't want to play with LeBron.